Let me share the screen. All right, can you see the screen? Nampak tak?
Nampak.
Okay, so basically this is what we say as today is the 8th of January, so this is our first class. So before we start our class, it's mandatory for me to explain to you about the course information of this subject. Okay, so I will explain to you the course information, and each class I will do a recording and I will normally upload it on YouTube. Okay, so this today's lecture pun I will upload it in YouTube. Okay, so course information MGT 785 Management of Technology and Innovation, master's course. All right, so what we are going to learn in this course is basically management of technology in organizations, but we are going to look at what we say as the innovation concepts. Okay, so we are going to understand the technological perspective and the innovation perspective. So before we start this course, all of you have to be in a different position. Okay, you have to be in a different position, different head. I know some of you are engineers, some of you are finance officers, some of you are insurance agents, but in this course you have to think, you have to act as if you are the manager or senior manager in the transformation office. Okay, so you are going to propose to your department, or you are going to propose to your organization, okay, we have to change, this is how we are going to change, this is how we are going to innovate our products, so this is the way to go. Okay, so you are in this department, you are the senior manager, you are the managers, and you are going to change your organization from a normal organization to a different organization using technology. Let's say your organization produces a certain product A. So now you are now in a transformation, you are now in the transformation office, you are going to propose to your organization, okay, now let's change from product A to product B by using technology, and these are the what you say benefits that you can get by changing from product A to product B. Or you might say, okay, let's keep product A, but now let's also invest in a new technology that can produce product B or C. So we are going to understand how do you do this. So mostly our lectures will be talking about the definition, we'll be talking about previous innovation that has succeeded and that has failed, and we are also going to understand when is the right time to go in. Always remember, in innovation you can have the best innovation, super innovation, but if the timing is not right, then it's going to be a problem as well. So we are going to understand, we are going to read or understand and discuss when is the best time. I'm sure all of you would agree with me, the best time for e-commerce was during COVID, because most of us cannot go out and we have to stay at home. So e-commerce boomed really well during during the COVID period. But before that, it was also booming. But I think you can agree with me. During the COVID time, it boomed to a extreme level. So that is what we say is the timing of entry. The timing must be right. Uh, and next, we are also going to look at what are the strategies. Okay, now you have the product. How do you want to enter the market? Are you going to enter the market full forcefully, meaning you have the product, terus masuk, and this is the way, or you're going to implement it in one state, and if it works, you're going to go to another state, or you're going to go to one department, another department. Okay, and once you have this innovation, are you going to do a trademark? Are you going to do patents on it? So we are also going to highlight that. And mostly we are also going to understand about the national technology policy, because we have to understand, even if we innovate the best idea, if our national policy is not up to date or does not support this idea, then we cannot go far. Okay. For example, we have everything in line. Your organization is doing perfectly fine. Everything is good, but the internet connections or the infrastructure of the national grid is not there. And so you cannot. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So these are also things that we need to understand. Okay. So how is this classes going to be conducted? We are going to have lots of discussion. We are going to look at some minimal case studies, and you're also going to do group works. You're also going to do individual assignments. There won't be any field trips. Okay. If there were to field trip pun, kita akan melawat lah siapa yang bersalin tu. Maybe we're going to visit them. Okay. So that's about it. Okay. And this continuous assessment, we go here. All right. So for this course, we are going to have one midterm exam, which is going to carry 20%. We're going to have 2 group assignments, which is going to take 30%, 1 individual assignment, and 1 group project. Okay, so group project, you have 1 big group project, individual 1, group assignment 2, and your midterm exam 1, 30%, 20%. Okay, so it's quite straightforward. So at the end of this course, we are hoping that you will be able to understand how to bring your organization through the use of technology and how to innovate ideas. So that is very, very important, because you have the idea in your organization. So now you want to innovate that, you are using technology. So that is the whole idea about this course. How do you manage this? So again, let me remind you, when you answer any questions in this class, please bear in mind, now you are sitting in a different position. Okay, you're sitting in a different. You are the senior manager, you are the manager, or you are the head of the innovation department, or transformation office, or technological office, or so you are going to sell your idea. You are going to tell your boss, okay, this is the way to go. No more, we cannot sell this anymore. This is not going to work anymore. People are not going to buy this anymore. People are they are not interested in this. The young people are not interested in this. We should go into this way. We should invest our money in this software, in this technology. So you are going to convince them based on certain ideas, based on certain based on certain history. Okay, because history has showed us so many things. The very most important thing in when implementing innovation ideas is the timing. Timing must be right. If the timing is not there, if the timing is wrong, even though how good the product is or was, it cannot go in that. It cannot. It won't fly off. Okay. If you remember in Ipoh, Food Panda, Burger King, these were products that were doing very well outside Ipoh. But when Food Panda came into Ipoh in the year 2015-16, it only lasted for about 8 months because we were not prepared for it. The locals were not prepared to use Food Panda. The shop owners or the restaurant owners were not favorable, were clueless of how to use this, how to use this service. So it did not kick off. But it came back again 2-3 years later, where everyone was much more settled. Same thing as Burger King. Now you have 2 outlets of Burger King in Ipoh this year, or end of 2021, early 2022. Again, Burger King was also in Ipoh long time ago, but it didn't kick off because people was. I think Ipoh people did not like Burger King, so it did not kick off. Again, if you look at McDonald's, for example, in Ipoh, those days there were, if you remember, in UTC Ipoh, there was one big first, I think, considered the first McDonald's, but then over now it's already closed down because people don't go there anymore. People now go to their own housing area. There are also McDonald's. So timing is right. The timing might be good in one period of time. Again, it might not be good in another period of time. So that is also something we are going to look at in this course. Okay. So very, very important. We are going to have lots of discussions. We are going to have lots of case studies, end we are going to look at how technology and what you say, how innovation and technology they can go hand in hand. Again, you are going to have one midterm test, two group case studies, all right, one individual assignment, one group project, report 20%, and presentation 10%. Any questions so far? Okay. Uh, there are 6 of you in the class, so I'm assuming all of you have. I mean, there are 2 groups in this class. 3, 3, yeah. Okay, so I mean, you already have your group, so that covers some part of my job, so that's already done. Okay, so any questions on the assessment before we continue with chapter 1 for today?
Dr. Imran, boleh tahu deadline dia tak? Each of the...
Okay, I will give you the deadline by tomorrow because I have not scheduled each of them yet. Okay, I've not scheduled each of them yet. But don't worry. I mean, each like individual assignment, there will be like 2 weeks, all within what you say, all within a good time lah. Okay, I'll try to complete the, the due dates soon. Okay. Any question? Any other questions? Thank you, Nora. Izati, Amin, okay. Arif, okay. Shafiq, Cik Shafiq, okay.
Okay, Doctor. Okay.
Okay, I just have one question, Doctor. So, where are the slides? I mean, is it in the course content yang notes 2021 kan?
Yeah, sorry.
You have like 13 chapters lah altogether kan?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
2021, I mean, 2021 tu is 2022 lah.
Okay, alright. Noted.
Okay. Alright. But Cik Syafiq, some of the notes dalam tu ada 2-3 slide yang tak ada dalam notes tu. That is purposely done. So that saya tak nak you tidur lah macam you tengok slide tu kan. The slides in the new future maybe you only have 10. Tapi slides yang saya present tu mungkin ada 11. So there's one new magical slide. So it's just additional information lah.
Alright, noted.
All right. Okay. So let's start. Okay. Thank you. So let's start our first chapter. Okay. All of you okay there? Okay. How is Ipoh? How is Perak? Macam lah saya jauh kan. Melaka is very hot. Because before I came, they told me Melaka was raining, but tak nampak pun hujan. It's very, very hot here today. Yes, Melaka is hot. Memang hot lah.
Same here lah in Kampau also.
Oh, Kampau.
Quite hot.
All right. Can you see these notes? Can you see these slides?
Nampak.
Yes.
Okay. So we are going to use this textbook. You're not in my class. You do not have to buy this textbook. Okay. If you want to buy, you can buy. If you do not want to buy, it's fine with me because I myself don't have this textbook. It's okay for you. If you want to collect books, then you can buy. Go ahead. All right. So we are going to use this book as our reference, our guide. And most of the slides from here are taken from this particular book. And we have structured that not to have too much information, just very basic information. All right. So in chapter 1, what you are going to understand is basically certain terms and the overall picture of this code, whereby this code is only talking about innovation and technology. So these two words will be used often, innovation and technology. But basically what you are going to get out of this course is how to innovate using technology. Okay, So you want to innovate a new idea. But just before that, when we talk about innovation, it does not mean you come up with a new product. Okay, this is a new mineral water. This is a new bottle. This is a new pen. No, you do not. That is one part of innovation. Yes, you have a pen with so many colors. Yes, that's one part of innovation. But you also have to think if you can innovate a new process, if you can shorten a new process. For example, let's say we take siapa tadi? Arif kan? Human resource. Okay, so in human resource we always deal with annual leave. In the previous old days, when we want to take in any organization, when we want to take leave, we have to fill out a form and you submit to the HR will check inside the file how many days are you entitled for, how many days have you taken, and let's say you are entitled for 30 days and you have taken 3 days. So he will write there, okay, balance of leave is how many days, and then once this information is done, submit it to the boss. Boss will look at it. Okay, Amin wants to take leave. He has 30 days. He has used 5 days, so balance 25 days. He wants to take off another 2 more days because he wants to, okay, annual leave. Okay, fine, approve. Next, the form will go back to the HR. HR will look at it. Oh, boss has approved. Okay, now send info to Amin. Okay, Cik Amin, boss has already approved. You can go on your leave. Something like that. That was the process. So if you were to think about innovating those process, then you have the system now. Everyone goes to the system, and automatically, when you look at the system, you know how many days you have left, how many days have you taken, and all the process is done interactively. So the approval from previous time only it takes about 7 days. Now with the HR system, it only maybe takes about 2 to 3 days for approval. So that is as well a form of innovation. So when we talk about innovation, it does not mean that you come up with a new product, new product. Tak. We also can talk about a new process. So that's also part of innovation. uh, a company can come up with a new product. Yes, let's say they are delivering mineral water. Tomorrow they come up with a smaller ml of mineral water. Itu pun satu jenis innovation. Like Gardenia, they sell breads. They have so many types of bread. Innovation. But the biggest innovation for me is when they came up with noodles, mi kuning. That's also a new set of innovations. So they are willing to take the risk because people know them, Gardenia bread, Gardenia bread. But now they have already changed the concept. Gardenia mi kuning. So they've also taken a new concept. So that is also considered innovation. All right. So this subject will talk about innovation, but using technology as the backbone. All right. So that's why they say technological innovation now is the single most important driver of competitive success in industry. In order for you to be top in any industry, your organization needs to have something different from others. Let's say you are working in kita ambil contoh. Let's say you're working for Tesco lah. All of you are working for Tesco. So Tesco has to compete with Giant and has to compete with, let's say, another company. So three of these companies, hypermarket, are competing. And Maidin. Okay. So Tesco, Maidin, and apa tadi saya kata? Giant. So in order for you in your organization to be at the top, you have to offer something which is different so that you can be compete with that. That means you are able to compete with the others. So you must have that competitive advantage, competitive success. Okay. So many firms earn over 1/3 of sales on products developed within the last 5 years. So this statement is quite confusing. What does it mean? Does that mean that over the period of 5 years, baru 1/3, ataupun 1/3 of the sales in a total of 5 years? So this is very confusing. So it can mean both ways. That means when you implement new products, sometimes it takes time. Okay, it takes time, but sometimes it can come immediately. That means you put on a new product, pump, terus the product goes up. Like iPhone apa sekarang ni iPhone 13 kan, iPhone 12, iPhone 13. Hari ni keluar terus market dia. So that is because it's over time, it's a build up. Alright. So these some products takes time, some implementation takes time, but others can just make it over time. You can make it just overnight. You can say that. Alright. So advances in IT, information technology, have enabled faster innovation. So what does this mean is you use IT, you can get your innovation out faster. Okay. Why is this so? That means, let's say you have this software here, CAD, or computer aided design, enables rapid design and shorter production runs. That means you can come up with a new design all in shorter times. So this is another use of technology. All right. So we are also looking at how this impacts society. So you have the innovation. All right. So how can it impact the society? Okay, and this impact can be in a positive way, it can be in a negative way. Okay, positive way it can help people, a negative way also it's not helping people. For example, food panda, food delivery service, it's a very innovative way of delivering food. Okay, positive, it has impacted the society a lot these days. You want anything, you just go to the app, pay, food delivered right up to your doorstep. All right, right up delivered to your doorstep. You want asam pedas, example, just order through your app, delivered to you. Okay, but the advantage is good for us. That means you don't have to travel, you don't have to you don't have to, what you say, your petrol costs and this and that semua lah. But the disadvantage is you become lazy lah. Okay, you don't go out anymore, everything is delivered to you, and you can say your bill will increase lah, because it's just as a click of button. Okay, you might be spending more than you can afford to. Okay, so there are also some negative impacts on society. All right, so the importance of strategy. So we also look at how we want, if the innovation is by industry, how does the how does it, how is it important, or what is the strategies by the organization? How does it come up with? Okay, so they have the innovation funnel example here. That means they test it on the global market, and then they go down to the specific, see, specific specific market over here. So what it means is, here is the clinical department where they test it for about 3 to 6 years until the final proposal over here, the final the final product over there. Okay, so this is another example. All right, so overall what we are going to do is we are going to understand the sources. Where do you get this information from? All right, so what do you mean by sources of innovation? That means, it means by how does the company come up with this idea? How do you come up with this idea of this type of innovation? Takkan you duduk bawah pokok macam para mahasiswa duduk bawah pokok tengok benda lalu, oh inilah dia. It doesn't happen that way. Innovation always mostly happens from a problem. That means you have a problem and you think of a solution. That is the main idea of how innovation starts. Okay, the problem was to go and buy asam pedas, to go down, start your car, go to the restaurant, look for parking, go inside, only to find out asam pedas habis. Okay, so that was a problem. But now you have so many food deliveries, and then we are also looking at types and patterns of innovations. What kind of pattern was it? Was it a very what type of innovation was it? Was it a product or was it a service? Okay, what is the pattern? Pattern means how fast, how slow was it? That means the innovation was good, but it came out too early ataupun it came out too late. Okay, and we are also looking at the standards. What does this innovation follow the standard? Okay, does it follow a new standard? Does it follow the old standard? And last but not least, we are also looking at the timing. Okay, timing must be always there, right? Okay, whatever innovation, either is product, services, anything, the timing must always be there. Okay, if the timing is not right, maka then your product will not go where, or your innovation will not go anywhere. All right. Next, we are also looking at what are the strategies. Sebab because you are now the managers of the transformation unit office, so you would decide, and you will have to strategize lah. You can strategize lah. What are we going to do? How we are going to do it? What are we going to change? Okay, what are we changing? All right, so you are now going to decide on this, and then you are also going to look at collaborative. So by how are we doing this? Are we going to collaborate with another company outside Malaysia? Are we going to collaborate with another organization? Are we going to collaborate with different departments? And then we are also, how are we going to protect our products? What are the patent, copyrights, those things? All right. Then next we manage the new product. How do you manage the new team? And lastly, we are going to deploy it. Okay, so it's not a simple thing in coming up with a new innovation. Coming up with a new innovation is quite a tedious process, because first and foremost, you have to convince your management, okay, this is how, inilah dia, this is how you need to do it. We need to spend this amount of money. Okay, kalau you ambil example, sebab tadi siapa tadi yang kerja CAWANGAN tadi tu, CAWANGAN is related to BTS. Nothing relating, bukannya saya suka, yelah anak saya suka lah. Alright, so when I read about BTS, BTS is a very unique group coming from Korea. So when you read balik, Koreans, they innovated this BTS. I would say they innovated this BTS by, BTS was a 10-year project. That means they went around the world to find people who can be in this group. So they found them, they trained them. Whoever completed the training went on to the next stage. Siapa yang tak complete, cut off. And they molded them so that they would have this perfect Korean look group in 10 years. So they innovated this. It was not somebody yang they found dekat studio or who can so happen sing. They found dia jalan-jalan, jumpa orang boleh nyanyi tepi jalan. No. They crafted the idea. They crafted the group for 10 years. Okay? And whoever you are pun tak apa. Even if you come from any part of the world, they took you, because there's one members of BTS who is from Thailand. Who is from Thailand? Kebetulan muka dia macam anak patung lah. But, so she was also called into the audition. She was trained for the last 10 years and she became a BTS group. Okay, so they were able to innovate this for the last 10 years and they came up with it and it was successful. Okay, it's very successful. Okay, so that is also, you can consider that is also an innovation product. Okay, they innovated this idea, and not only that, BTS and other Korean K-pop, short form the K-pop groups, took the world by storm. Okay, all right. Look at this question. Why is innovation so important for firms to compete in industry? What are some of the advantages of technological innovation? What are the advantages? Okay. Come, let's answer question number 2 first. Anyone has any inputs on or ideas. What are some of the advantages of technological innovations or disadvantage? Tak kisahlah. You want to talk about the advantages or disadvantages? Up to you. Anyone has any idea?
My what you call, opinion, advantage of innovation save time and mostly save time lah.
Save time macam mana tu? Example?
Example, previously we, for example, like Korea, previously we use extra time to send our parcel to
Okay.
go to post office.
Yes, correct.
But today we all the branches are near in our place, and the timing for delivery are also cepat lah. Makin cepat
Yes,
kan.
correct. Betul, betul. Courier service, yes. I think there's a huge innovation happening in what do you call it? Courier service, betul. I think everyone will agree with me. Those days courier service, bila you kata courier service je, kita bermula dengan post laju. Everyone will post laju, and then it moved to, ataupun kalau you nak advance those days, DHL, mahal, very expensive. And then I think once JNT and everything else came in, Ninja lah, JNT, murah pula, you know. And you have so many choices. If you want it fast, you want it, what do you say, fast, you want it cheap, you have this. You have so many. I think that's also a very good. And then within the courier service pun, mereka pun ada dia orang punya innovation. Kan, delivery service pun dia orang pun akan sub. So those are, yes, good ideas on that. Okay, any more thoughts on what are some of the disadvantage pula? Can I have someone talking about the disadvantage of technological innovations? What is the disadvantage? Advantage, I think it's quite easy lah. Okay, quite easy to talk about. But what about disadvantage pula? What would be the disadvantage of having technological innovations? Any ideas?
Increase of unemployment.
Exactly, unemployment, betul. Unemployment will be, yes, you'll have an increase in unemployment. Or if you talk about employers, you have to retrain them. Okay, ada juga yang tak dapat kerja, betul. Ada juga yang you have to retrain them. Okay, so these are some disadvantages that you can have, because yes, you make things faster, good, better for customers, but in the other hand, you have to let go some people juga lah. Okay, example, the simplest example is in banks. Those days, if you want to deposit cash, you have to go over the counter, bagi duit, teller akan ambil, kira duit, masuk dalam account. So you have one. Now you don't have to do that anymore. You straight go into the cash deposit machine. So the teller has no more job to do. She or he might not be there anymore. So again, there's no more job for her. Okay, and then you have to retrain. Now, what are you going to do with this teller? Teller ni dah with you for about 15 years. You have to retrain her for a different department. Retrain her for something new. Okay, so these are also some disadvantages that takes place when you have what you say, a technological innovation. So technological innovation, as you can see here, is good, betul, but it also produces what you say, some disadvantage kat sini dah. Okay, all right. Now let's go into the next chapter. Anyone wants to say something before I move on to chapter 2?
Doctor,
Yes, sure.
I want to say something about disadvantages lah. Okay, can I say, is it fair for me to say that innovation creates a lazy generation? Because right now we have like a smart vacuum, smart home and smart everything is smart. So I'm not sure whether that is acceptable or not
Yeah,
lah. To
that
say that.
is considered very acceptable because that can consider you can put that under the category of society, because we are creating orang kata, if I relate that to my students, we are creating a strawberry students. They are vulnerable. Without that, orang tak boleh dah. Betul, Syafiq?
Yeah, strawberry, yeah, doctor.
Oh,
Okay.
because they are,
Understood.
yeah, they're like that. Because like even if I take my daughter for example, kan, hostel pun, I mean, I'm sure some of you have stayed in a hostel. Those days in hostels we only eat whatever the hostel gives us. Kalau hari tu makan ikan jacket lah kita makan. There are no other options without ikan jacket. You have tonton, you know kan what is ikan jacket kan? Ikan jacket tu ikan apa tu? Alah,
Tongkol
Kencaru.
uh,
Kencaru.
cencaru yang
Kencaru.
cencaru.
Tongkol sama lah.
Yes. So when I got that, I cry tau. Until today I cannot eat ikan jacket because sedih memikirkan nasib, bukannya lah hostel kan, tapi my nasib in the hostel was like, oh sedihnya. But now if you do not want that food, you can just panda and panda can come to the hostel and deliver. So even my daughter when she was in primary school, masa darjah 6, I mean before COVID tu, dekat-dekat before COVID tu, masa rehat pun panda datang tu. Ada parents yang macam terlupa nak bagi duit untuk pergi sekolah ke apa, panda je lah. So it's like that already. It's like that already. The society is in such that panda. That's the way to go. You know, macam tu. There was once also saya tak ada transport untuk ambil anak saya from school balik rumah because Cik Megat, our local pemandu yang biasa ambil dia tu, yang ambil budak-budak tu, hari tu tak datang. So from office, tengah-tengah mesyuarat ke, tengah-tengah kelas ke, Grab. My daughter will call me from public phone, Daddy nak kereta, Grab. Lepas tu Daddy she'll call me back dalam 1 minit, apa nama plate dia Daddy? Nama plate dia ni. So she'll go out the school, tunggu kereta akan balik. Saya akan tengok phone lah sepanjang 20 minit tu, while class tu letak phone and look, kereta tu dah sampai rumah belum. Takutlah kan, you know. But that was how dah jadi macam tu dah. The society has changed these days. You don't macam, if you don't know how to go anywhere, dah tak, those days kalau nak pergi anywhere you need directions, you need to ask people how to go this. These days you don't need dah. Oh, you have Google Map, you have Waze, insyaAllah akan sampai. You know, you have never, let's say you go to a state macam pergi Terengganu, tak pernah pergi Terengganu, tak ada masalah. Google Map is there. You just put everything, you can go there. So technology has changes a lot, and like Cik Shafiq kata, it has also made us very lazy because unknowingly we are there already. Tetapi on the other hand, it has also given us a good advantage. If you take for example apa tu, teknologi kalau apa tu yang exercise, mobile apps untuk exercise tu, Strava and Samsung semua kan, you can see how many kilometers have you run, you boleh tengok your pace, berat badan, you can look at your blood pressure, heartbeat. So that's all very good lah. Okay, that's other advantages for society. But on the other hand, ada juga disadvantages dia. Alright? Okay, maybe we can stop for about 10 minutes and then we continue balik say dalam 3:45, boleh?
Okay,
Alright.
Okay, boleh.
Alright. So 3:45 we will continue. In the meantime, can you just message me your full name and email address, yeah?
Okay, doktor.
Alright, thank you. See you at 3:45. Okay, so based on the first chapter, we have had the opportunity to think or just to highlight about the overall picture of innovation and technology. Okay, so we have an idea with us, and we know that it impacts us in one way or another. Some impacts are positive, some impacts are negative. We know that you need proper planning, you need proper thoughts on how to come out with this innovation, and we have also understood that innovation is just not a product, but it can also mean services as well. Okay, so now in chapter 2, we are going to see now where do we get this innovation from, or how do we come out with this innovation, or where is it, where is the innovation, how do we say that I got the innovation from this, I got the innovation from this. But the basic idea of innovation comes from a problem. If you see a problem, if you face a problem, then you get ideas. So those ideas are innovation. So basically, what we can say is innovation comes from a problem. It can be from a direct problem, or it can be from an indirect problem. For example, let's take the recent flood that happened in Malaysia. It happened in Shah Alam and Kajang and a few states. So we are very sorry for them. We hope that these people will gain their life back as soon as possible. So kita mengharapkan yang terbaik untuk mereka. Okay, so that is a problem. Okay, flood is a problem. It's a huge problem. So in order for you to solve this problem, you come up with several ideas. So these ideas can be considered as some sort of innovation because you want to solve that problem. Okay, or you want to solve part of the problem. Okay, meaning to say some innovations might solve the overall picture. Okay, that means there are no more floods there. Okay, let's say this taman apa tu, taman Naning di Kajang tu, di Hulu Langat tu, there was a big flood problem. So with your new innovation, for the next 100 of years, there won't be any more flood. So that is total solving lah. But there can also be innovations in terms of if next time this happens, what to do next? What can be done? Okay, what can be done? Tapi then again, kalau you tengok these innovations might work, might not work, but there are also innovations lah. Okay, so again, what I'm trying to say is innovation or the source of an innovation comes from a problem. Okay, so let's just take a look at several sources of innovation. Let's start with this story by Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Jack Ma. Okay, so they were all thinking of how to come up with clean meat. What is clean meat? That means they synthesize daging, meat. So they all will go to the labs, and the labs will do something, and they will come up with daging. So meat, bayangkan, you don't have to slaughter a cow or goat or whatever. You can just go and get meat from a lab. Okay, you don't have to what you say go and pluck your vegetables, but you can get it in a form of something else, synthesized version. Okay, synthesized version. So they were thinking of how to develop clean meat. That means this meat, kalau you makan, you will feel good. That means you will have less cholesterol, less everything will be clean. So everyone will stay healthy. Kalau you makan red meat, kalau banyak sangat, you dapat high blood pressure ke apa ke, cholesterol ke. But this, you won't get anything. You won't be sihat sahaja. So this was the idea of coming up with clean meat. Okay, clean meat. So these were some of the problems lah. The demand for meat was there. All right. Animal production has large negative impacts on environment, greenhouse gases, heavy water and energy use. So point number 2, look at this. These are all problems. Why do they want to come up with clean meat? Is because if you cut animals, you will have a negative impact on environment, greenhouse effect, water banyak pakai, and energy use. Water betul lah, you nak cuci, you nak all those things. Energy, yes, because you have to have a proper slaughtering house and everything, so that uses a lot of energy. But by now, so these were the problems. So if you were to create clean meat, everything is there, everything is done. Okay, it's much, you don't have animals. Okay, and then your point number 4, point number 3, calorie pun tak ada. Okay, because it's all clean. All right, so these were things that they were trying to do. These were their source. Okay, so the source of this innovation, the innovation is the clean meat, was coming from the problem, was coming from the negative impact on the environment. Okay, the source of it. Okay, let's take for example AirAsia. Why was AirAsia so successful at one point of time? I mean, I think they are still, because the problem was not everyone can fly, because the price was so expensive. Those days kalau you dengar orang naik flight, wow, atas kayangan. Okay, you nak pergi Sabah, Sarawak, nobody can go. Only if you have money, you have to travel by Malaysian Airlines. You nak fly Sabah, Sarawak, all those places. Now you can travel. You tengok ada tiket murah, you boleh travel. Even you can go for a kenduri kahwin in Kelantan by just traveling by flight. Now from Ipoh to Langkawi, you can take a flight if they're really cheap flights. Okay, so now because the problem happened because not everyone can fly, and the flight tickets were expensive. So that was the problem. So now they have come up with a solution. Everyone can fly, cheaper flight tickets. And how do they make it? How do they make the flight tickets cheaper? They cut all the perks lah. Tak ada makan, seating tak ada, bag dikurangkan. Okay, you nak bawa 7 kilo, okay, you pay only this amount. Oh, you want to bring 10 kilos, now you pay extra because you want to bring 10 kilos. Oh, you want to sit in front, now you pay extra. Okay, you want a cup, you pay extra. You want to eat, you pay extra. You want to check in online, you don't pay anything. You want to check in the counter, where is this? The airport, you pay extra. So they cut here, they plus there, they cut here, they plus there. So now everyone can fly. Okay, now everyone can fly. Okay, if you buy the ticket earlier, it's way cheaper. If you buy the ticket tomorrow, today, fly tomorrow, very expensive. Okay, so they innovate this. So the source of this innovation comes from the problem. So this is what chapter 2 is talking about. In order for you to come out with a solution or innovation for your organization, look at the problem first. Or what we say is, go inside the problem. I'm sure all of you have been a minimum of at least 2 years or 3 years in your company. Kalau macam tadi siapa namanya, yang kerja kat TMB tu, 10 years. I'm sure you have so much problems. And I'm sure you have so many ideas dalam kepala you. Kalau aku, if I was the boss sini, manager kat sini, I would have done it this way. Because if you do it this way, it takes 10 hours. If you do it your way, because you have experience, you know how things work, you can do everything in 5 hours. Okay? And if you do it this way, you can do it faster. If you do it this way, it's longer, but it's much more safer. So you know how to do it. So those are sources of innovation. Okay? You have any questions? Please ask. Ya. So, saya seorang-seorang dalam bilik hotel ni, saya rasa bercakap dengan dinding kadang-kadang. Tapi tak apa. Okay. So, what are the potential advantages? Ini boleh, I think you can guess it lah. Okay? Because the disadvantage of having meat, okay, was macam tadi saya kata lah, because you kena potong kerbau, lembu semua is question of halal, haram, and then you kena pakai energy banyak, kena pakai air banyak, all those things. Alright, because kalau salah potong, dah haram, tak boleh makan. And then kalau lembu orang kata lembu tua, daging liat, and mungkin be hazardous to our human body. But this is clean meat. Okay, this is clean meat. And maksud dia, kalau orang these people buy, so also you get the good quality inside it. You buy tomorrow pun, you get the good quality in it. Okay. So, but then what are the challenges of developing it and bring it into the market? So I'm sure there are so many challenges. Kita ambil challenges paling senang. If you develop clean meat, there's an issue of halal haram. How do you define halal haram? You have to look at it. Because so many issues lah. And people want to question, is it safe? Is it safe for consuming in the long run? Yes, memang lah orang kata hari ni safe. Yes, everything kita pakai, we are using all the products which are safe for the human body, but we are looking at 10 years, 15 years. So these are also some challenging issues. So what does that mean from this point? It means even if an innovation is good, but it also poses a challenge. It also poses a disadvantage. So there can never be an advantage for an innovation for a longest period of time. Tak boleh. Ya, betul. Innovation tu ada. Betul. Yes. Now everyone can fly. Yes, everyone can fly. But there's also some disadvantage from having flights flying all the time. You have pollution, you have so many other things. Kalau dulu dekat airport Ipoh tu, let's say kita ambil airport Ipoh lah. Let's say airport Ipoh tu only ada 5 flight. But now with AirAsia coming in, going out, coming in, going out, you have 10, 15 flights per day. That's also pollution. Okay, even though yes, it's a good thing. Pembangunan ekonomi, you're giving Ipoh economy boost, you're giving all the shops kat dalam airport tu ada benda nak buat, even orang jaga parking pun dia dah sibuk sekarang, everything is good, but at the same time it's also some challenges also. Okay, there are also some challenges. So again, innovation, yes, good, but at the same time you have some disadvantage. So what do you do as the manager? What do you do as the senior manager? You have to reduce these challenges. You have to reduce these disadvantages. Increase in the advantage. Try to reduce the disadvantage. So how do you do this? So you have to look at things from this 5 perspectives. Firms, individuals from the university level, private, non-profit, and government-funded research. Okay. So these are the people who come out with innovation research. How do you, what then you will be asking, now apa kaitan ini dengan cara kita nak reduce this? Because you have to look at this in a very critical manner. Macam ni lah, what can I say is, it might be a problem untuk Arif, but it's not a problem untuk Izzati. It might be a problem for Izzati, but it's not a problem for Syafiq. Macam tu. Yes, it can be a problem for your organization, but it's not a problem for Izzati organization. No. So, what this book is suggesting is suggesting that we look from these main players. These are the main players of the industry. These are the places where innovation comes from. It comes from firms, individuals, private non-profit, universities, government-funded research. Universities, yalah, we look at things differently. Pensyarah looks at things differently. We come up with our own research. Okay, academic-wise. Okay, we are talking about academic-wise lah. We come up with research yang more to academic. But firms, they have, macam Arif tadi bekerja dengan TNB, so innovation coming up from TNB is based on solid data. Is based on solid TNB Jana Manjung punya data ni. of 10, 15, 20 years of operating. Individuals come from experience, come from angry, come from frustration. Yelah nak pergi beli asam pedas. Lepas tu turun tangga, start kereta, panas. Drive the car, get a parking lot, takes you 5 to 10 minutes. Pay the parking lot and then go to the kedai asam pedas and the asam pedas is not there. Frust tau. And then you drive back. Bila you drive back, accident. Allahu Akbar. Just for one asam pedas. Frustration. So dalam kepala dia is now thinking, why did I do this? What if I had and somebody else go and buy for me? See? He's coming up with frustration. So his innovation, his his idea, his source is coming out of his experience. Frustration. Ini tak ada kaitan dengan saya secara kebetulan. Or you have private non-profits. These are all NGOs. These are all people willing to help. So these people also come up with some sort of innovation. And you also have government-funded research because the government also funds certain number of research based on the market which is going around. Okay, based on certain conditions. If I'm not mistaken, in pada banjir yang tahun yang lepas di banjir Kelantan tu in 2015-16, government came up with certain number of money budget to be given to researchers so that they can study the banjir and come up with possible solutions to prevent or to handle the banjir. So this was, it came out from the government. The government wanted, because the government didn't know how to handle certain issues, so they come up with certain funds. Okay, so again, how do you source innovation? You come up with creativity. Okay, how creative you are. All right, because you have been in the process, you are very creative, so you can come up with creativity. So creativity links with your knowledge, your personality, your motivation, and your environment. Okay, because you are working in that environment, you become more creative. Okay, because you are working in an engineering department, you become more creative. How to solve the problem faster. So again, creativity also is one source of innovation. Okay, so some creativity comes from idea collection, suggestion box. That's why in companies they have suggestion box. So if you have any suggestion, you drop it in and the companies will evaluate and look at it and maybe implement it. Okay, and you go for training, creative training. That means sometimes you are not creative, but when you go for training, it actually what do you say, sambungkan sel-sel otak you, so you become much more creative because you have been in that process for a long period of time. Sometimes mungkin you tak nampak benda tu. Yes, for you it's easy because you have been in the system for the last 10 years. But again, you can be creative. Okay, I have been teaching, alhamdulillah, more than 10 years. I have been in that teaching situation. But when COVID happened, or just a few years before COVID, I had to change my teaching style because students have changed. Students 10 years ago and even 5 years ago are different. So I cannot use the same teaching style as I had used in day one or last 5 years. It does not apply. And when we started online distant learning, I cannot use the same style. I have to use a different style. And the questions which I give students needs to be also different. Ini yang people are talking about on Facebook. Maybe you can argue on this later on. Students in school have been taught using online. However, their test is based on face-to-face. You know, faham tak my argument kat sini? Argument saya ialah, and you have been teaching them online. Macam ni lah online semua. But soalan is dalam bentuk macam face-to-face punya soalan. So, you have to understand, bila when the method changes, So the question needs to be different as well. The question needs to be different, adapting to the new method. Adapting to the new method. You tell a person how to climb a tree. Okay, you climb a tree macam ni. You put your legs like this, you hug the tree and you go up. But on the day of the examination, you give them a tangga. Okay, now use the tangga and go up the tree. They won't know how because they have been trained to use their hands and legs. Or you tell them, okay, in order for you to climb a tree, use this tangga. Alright? So they practice. Oh, tangga boleh naik. Okay, very nice. But on the day of examination, you take away the tangga. Now, climb the tree. Tak boleh lah, we cannot climb the tree because you have been trained to use the tangga. Alright? So this is also some sort of creativity. How do you go up that? Alright, so you have to think of new means or ways. You have to be creative in all of this. So let's look at Google. This is an example of Google whereby they allow their employees to take 20% of their time on every day, on almost every day to think of their own ideas, not on their work. Okay, so that means you work, let's say, from 8 to 5, tapi every day about 20% of your time you're allowed to do something else on your own. You nak buat apa, buatlah. But it should be something relating to innovation. And if that innovation is good, you can propose to the organization, Google, and it can be part of the products. All right. So some of the Google products that have been from their employees' innovation is Gmail, Google News. These are all coming from their employees, not from their management. What Google is saying sama seperti what Syafiq, can you help me out? Siapa apa tu di Apple tu? Jobs apa? Steve apa? What's his full name?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs, when he first took over Apple, what he said is, we do not bring technology to people. We bring people to technology. We do not bring technology to people, but we bring people to the technology. So what does it mean? He meant was, kita janganlah fikir hebat-hebat. Okay, we sit in a room, we think that people need this. This is what people need and we give them. No. It could be different. People don't need that sometimes both. So we go to people and ask them, okay, what do you need? What do you want? So this is what Google has been doing. They let the employees think and they let the employees propose to them. This is how they cultivate innovations. So their source of innovation comes from their employees. So if you are in an organization later on, you may ask your employees to come out with their own innovation to help the organization. So this is what is happening with some of the government officers. They have kumpulan kreatif, KIK. They ask their employees to come up with innovative ideas to help them. To help them. So kalau macam for example office boys yang banyak buat kerja-kerja hantar surat, so they have ideas. So let them propose something and propose back to the masuk pertandingan and propose back to the organization. So they have the best ideas. So in Google, the source of their innovation came from the creativity of the employees. So when you handle, inshallah, someday when you handle these, you are the senior managers, your creativity, you can get creativity from your employees. Your employees will the one yang orang kata help you to become creative. Alright, so innovation is the implementation of creative ideas into some new devices or process. Betul. Alright, one requires combining creativity with resources and expertise. Betul. If you have the money, you have the resources, you have the expertise, you combine that, you can get creativity. If your company has the expertise and your company has the money, boleh, you can shoot off. Okay. One 10-year study found that inventors typically have mastered basic skills, basic tools, are curious, questions the assumption, and seek global solutions. So if you are the inventor, if you are inventor kat sini bukannya bermaksud you duduk dalam computer laptop, you invent something, tak. You can also invent the process. Why and how do you become an inventor? Because you have been through inside that. You have been through the process and you are curious. Kenapa kita? Why are we doing this way? Where else we can do it the other way? You have been in the oil and gas business for a very long time, 10 years, 5 years. I consider 5 years pun dah long dah. You have been there. You dah buat kerja-kerja finance for a very long time. So you know what is wrong, what is right. So you question them. So when you question this process, when you come up with possible solutions, now you are an inventor and you have come up with innovations. All right. So this is another product of innovation from Dean Kamen. He came up with the two-wheel scooter. All right. He has received numerous awards. Semua never graduated from college. Saya tak tahu kenapa dekat sini. But I'm just saying. So the solution was not to come up with a new answer for a known problem, but instead reformulate the problem. Okay. So his idea was different. Solution here is, yes, everyone knows this is the problem, but why not kita tukar problem ini? Okay, why not we change this problem into a different one? Okay, he did not come up with a solution for that problem. He came up with a smaller reformulated problem. So what does it mean? What does it mean? Can anyone help me? What does this line mean? The solution was not to come up with a new answer to a known problem, but to instead reformulate the problem. Izati, can you help me out? Ataupun siapa-siapa, can you help me out? What do you mean by was not to come up with an answer, was not to come up with a new answer to a known problem, but to instead reformulate the problem. What do you mean by that? How about Ashikin boleh?
Sorry, Dr. No idea.
Amin, what do you think, Amin?
Tengah fikir lagi. Kenapa dia nak reformulate?
Kalau saya nak cuba doktor,
Sure.
he is being creative lah for me,
Yeah.
not being innovative. Boleh
Okay.
jawab macam tu.
Arif ini, Arif kan?
Syafiq.
Okay, Shafiq. Okay, maybe you can answer this problem based. Okay, can you think? Cuba kita create satu example untuk ni. Try to let's put it in an example. Mungkin baru orang faham kot. What do you mean by is not coming up with a solution untuk problem, tetapi reformulate the problem? Tadi Syafiq yang cakap pasal courier service kan?
Arif.
Arif ya? Okay, tak apa. Kita ambil example Arif tu, courier service tu. We try to see how can we answer that. Dia macam ni, Syafiq and others. Arif kata solution problem courier lah sekarang ni, courier service kan? Okay, so the problem with courier service tu dari segi penghantaran dia, lambat, cepat semualah. Now we have so many service and this and that. Okay, so Arif kata tadi, yalah sekarang dah ada so many courier service, betul, everything is correct. But kalau kita balik pada problem asal dia ialah courier service itu sendiri. The courier service itself was a problem because it was expensive, it was not very on time, and now we have so many services and this and that. But if we were to take everything, kalau kita let's say we were inventors at that time lah. Katakan we were all inventing at that time, and kalau kita nak solve the whole problem, sampai bila kita nak solve when we cannot solve the problem. So kita solve sikit je. Kita solve sikit je problem tu. Maybe kita reformulate the problem. The problem was susah nak pergi post laju, expensive, and is difficult to post. So now there are 3 problems. Kita tak perasan tu, 3 problem. Oh, kita solve satu problem dulu. So that is what it means. That means it's not to come up with a total solution, but it's only to come up with one part of it saja. One problem je. Masalah masalah pembelian ni semua, makanan ni semua, dia solve satu problem je. Dia solve satu problem je. The problem is now solved is going to buy. Going to buy, they solve the problem. Okay? But if you have a huge problem, you solve little by little dulu. Okay? So this guy ni, Kaman ni, the solution was not to come up with a known problem, but instead to reformulate the problem. So why did he come up with this self-balancing? Yalah, because one of the problem is kalau security guards di shopping mall semua, yalah, they need to work. Yalah, dia orang perlu jaga lah kan, from one side to another side, perlu jaga. And then let's say if something happens on the other side, dia orang nak lari ke apa ke. So now he came up with this solution. This two-wheeler, very fast. It's very fast. Dia tak pakai petrol ke apa, dia pakai electricity, and it can solve one problem. Okay, it can solve one problem, but it's not going to solve everything else. He only solve one problem lah, masalah larian tu je lah. Okay, masalah larian tu je. But masalah kecurian tu masih berlaku. But at least now you can eliminate the problem. You can slowly eliminate the problem. Kalau dulu, kalau dia, let's say block 1, block A to block B, 1 kilometer. Jaga tu pergi to block B. By the time dia balik to block A, dia kena curi dah. But now it's much more safer lah. Okay, so your innovation, so balik pada your organization, you do not need to come up with a one-off total solution. You can come up with a small, you can reformulate the problem so that you solve it. Maybe this year, kita solve ini dulu. Next year, kita solve the other problem. Following year, we solve another problem. That is what it means. That means you reformulate the problem. As to you solve one bit after another bit after another. But you have to remember, it needs to be a continuous process. You cannot say, okay, we reformulate this problem. First year, we solve this. Second year, we do not do anything. Third year, you are total loss. Fourth year, apa itu problem? We don't do that. We solve it as we go along. So by the time it reaches 5 years, we have solved the problem. Okay? Why do we do this? Because if we were to solve the problem totally, bila kita nak siap? Alright? So, another example. For example, sailor boats develop Olympic sailors. In the mill tissues adhesive based on super glue. Early snowboard. So that means sailor boat ni, they developed, sailor boats ni were developed by Olympic sailors. So Olympic sailors, when they developed a sailor boat so that people who nak masuk Olympics can train on that. So it solves the problem because people yang masuk Olympic ni, they have to train in different conditions. But boat yang sedia ada cannot train them. So they develop something which can train them. Alright? So these are some of the creativity coming from a person itself who's already in the system. And you solve the problem in a smaller way. That means you reformulate the problem, jadikan dia problem 1, problem 2, problem 3. So you solve problem 1 dulu. You solve problem 2 dulu. You solve problem 3. Macam anak-anak kita, kalau yang tak pandai matematik, we do not tell them, okay, tomorrow masuk tuition, by next Friday you akan terror matematik. No, it does not happen that way. It takes time. Hari ni dia akan terror what do you say? He will become good in chapter 1, and then chapter 2, and then chapter 3. Eventually, they can become good in all the chapters. So it takes time. So you reformulate the problem so that it takes time one after another. So in innovation, we get innovations from problems. So we can solve these problems by retailoring or restructuring our problems so that we solve it one after another. All right? And we can apply research. Either it's a basic research or applied research. A basic research is we look at a certain topic and then we do it. We buat survey ke apa ke, we do that lah. Applied, we use data yang sedia ada, we apply theories to that. Okay, ini biasanya dalam budak-budak business, we'll do this. You have the data, you apply your ideas straight away to the data or the industry. All right, let's see what else there. Okay, next you can also, if there are research coming up from firms, what we say is it will use a push. It will use a sign push theory. A sign push theory means whatever developed by the organization is pushed straight to the consumer through manufacturing and through marketing. Meaning the idea comes from the firms. So they assume this is what the people want and they push it to them. Some use the demand pool. Ini macam Steve Jobs. They ask the customers, apa yang you nak? What do you want? Customer suggestion, they come up with invention, and they manufacture it. Okay, so most current research argues that innovation is not so simple and may originate from various of sources and follow a variety of paths. Okay, so you can have two types of firms innovation. One is from the customers, one is scientific discovery. That means the firm itself yang push this. Let's say it's like this lah. Now we know all of our, inshallah, in the coming years we are going to 5G. So if we own an IT company, so we will try to sell products which are 5G enabled. Whether they need it or not, whether ayah kita perlukan ke tidak, whether our parents need yes or no, but we will give it to them. We do not know. Why do we do this? Is because the environment is now 5G. Okay? Why do we do it? Because the environment is now 5G. Why do we buy face masks? Is because the environment is now requiring us to buy face masks. So why have you seen in Ipoh sekarang ada kedai yang jual face mask only? Because it's because of the demand. It's from the customers. Customers want face mask, so we sell face masks. Okay? That is the customer suggestion, customer demand. But if we are looking at the scientific discovery, is what is going on now. Now it's 5G. So we are going to sell, or your company is going to sell, things which are related to 5G. So that is the scientific discovery block. All right. Some you can collaborate innovations from customers, suppliers, competitors, and complementers. That means you collaborate, you get ideas from these people, you collaborate, you get ideas from university, you collaborate with them, and you produce new inventions. Okay. Next, we can also see how we can use what is this? How the extent to which a firm can recognize the value of external information, assimilate it, and apply it towards achieving organization goals. That means you can see, your organization can see that if you were to collaborate with another company, you know how far can you go. Okay, macam for example, Dell, when they come up with their own laptops, they collaborate with another supplier. Okay, Dell provides the technology, supplier provides the hardware. So you maybe if you collaborate, you can get it at a cheaper price. So now later they'll innovate a new laptop. So supplier yang sama, they go back to the same supplier and say, okay, now I've come up with a new laptop which is bigger, this and that. Can you produce these specs? Yes, I can. So now they collaborate again. Right? So collaborating with your suppliers is good because obviously there's costing and it will increase the demand because you can produce your company will produce the technology and the suppliers will come up with the hardware. All right. So these are some what do you say, some royalties and innovation from universities. Let's see where else are we here today. Okay, let's just go into the discussion question here. What are some disadvantage or advantage and disadvantage of individuals as innovators, firms as innovators, universities as innovators, government institutions as innovators, and non-profit innovators? So obviously, by looking at this, what are the disadvantages? Very simple. If you take the first point, let's take Shafiq as the innovator. Okay, Shafiq is an innovator. What would be the advantage? So the advantage is very simple because Shafiq is a human being. He is staying in Kampar. So if he comes out with a innovation, so it'll be good lah because dia orang Kampar and he's come out because he is using it and he is coming out. He is not a firm. He is just a normal person. Dia akan ada perasaan lah. He will come out something useful for another human. Okay, but what are the disadvantage? The disadvantage is nanti dia akan buat something yang dia suka lah. Okay, yang suits him, but it could be tailored for him only. Okay, it might be on his criteria. Okay, kalau macam if you take universities as the innovators, is yes, they read a lot. Yes, they will do something which can be applied to the outside world, but sometimes in a layman terms, it can be short sendiri lah, because we think that the world is like this. Tapi bila buat, oh bunyi bukan. You know, we think. Kadang-kadang you buat je, oh bukan. You know, it's things like that, right? Or maybe if you take the government institution as the innovators. So government gives funding. Okay, Cik Shafiq, go and do this research. Okay, Cik Shafiq pun buatlah research ni. Inilah dia. This is how it looks like. But then government, you always have to remember, they are affected by politics. The same person who gives Cik Shafiq the money is no more there in the next term. So Cik Shafiq's research, Cik Arif's research, and Puan Izzati's research are left on the table, not going anywhere. So that's also another disadvantage. Okay, so there are a few things that we have to look at when you're doing innovation. Okay, innovation technology is good. That is always good, but you have to see you're coming out from where are you looking at? Are you looking at from the point of the individual? Are you looking from the point of the firm? Are you looking at from the point of university? Are you looking at from the government level? Because each of these will look at it differently. The government wants something which is good for them. The individual wants something which is fast. They do not want talk. They want things fast. The university will base on theory, concept, based on graph, based on charts. Firm wants something which makes money. Non-profit organization wants something which is helpful. So all of this combines to the source of your innovation. So where are you looking at it from? So again, when you look at this, when you are the head of the transformation unit department, you have to think from which perspective are you looking at? Are you looking at to make things easier, or are you looking at macam in terms of the firm's profit? So what are you looking at? So these are the things that you need to consider, because the company, the boss might ask you, You want the organization to invest 100,000 in buying this new machine for what? To make things easier untuk siapa? For who? How is it beneficial for the company? How much can the company get? In what year can the company get? So you have to understand all this and you have to justify this to your organization. Okay, I think we can stop for today because we have talked so much already. Sampai terbatuk-batuk. So what have we covered for today? We have covered the introduction. We have covered the sources of our innovation, and we have talked about what are the disadvantages of certain innovation, what are the disadvantages of certain sources of innovation. But at the end of the day, what we have highlighted is we have highlighted the source or where does the innovation comes from is a problem. Innovation berasal daripada problem. It can be Cik Syafiq's problem, it can be Cik Amin's problem, it can be a problem where Puan Nora has gone through for the last 10 years. So from that problem, we come up with innovations. But is this innovation from the firm's perspective or from the customer's perspective? Itu pun soalan juga. And always remember, innovation always has an advantage. Itu betul lah. Innovation memang ada advantage. But it can also create disadvantage. And innovation is not to help solve the problem, betul. But it cannot solve the total problem. Maksudnya you cannot say dengan adanya innovation saya maka kemiskinan di Malaysia akan habis. You cannot say that. Sebab ada other factors. Other factors. You cannot say dengan adanya with my innovation Malaysia will be a better place. Everyone will live harmony, will be happy. Tak ada macam tu. It does not happen that way. So you can structure the problem. Yes, it will happen. Okay. Sebab in order for to avoid something, to eradicate a problem, we need a few aspects. So innovation from your idea is only one part of it. Okay, one part of it. All right. Any questions for me today? Okay, so what have we learned? Innovation comes from problems. That is very important. Innovation cultivates creativity. Right? And always remember because you are now, hari ni, in this class, you are now no more whatever you have been doing, you are now the technological officer. You are going to propose to your boss tomorrow, on Monday, you have to do this. This is the way to go. Kita selama ni buat all of this in a manual form, we are now going to do this way. You are now going to tell your boss to invest this much of money for your innovation, for your company's innovation. And how is this done? Is because all of you have gone through the process. All of you have 5 years, 10 years, 20 years experience. You are the experience. You know what's the problem. Okay? So when you answer the questions dalam test, dalam assignment, dalam group ni nanti, you have to answer them based on you have to imagine that awak ni, you are the senior manager. You are the manager, you are the top level in the what you say transformation office ke, innovation office ke, macam tu. Semua dah bangga macam dah jadi senior manager, semua dah senyum. Bila saya cakap senior manager, semua oh. Tapi gaji tak adalah, gaji sama je. Just imagine je lah, kita imagine je lah. Kita imagine kita di kayangan. So jawapan kayangan tau. I want kayangan answers. But always saya suka daripada Steve Jobs. We do not bring technology to people. We bring people to technology. Kadang-kadang idea kita hebat. Idea kita ni hebat, tapi it's not practical for the people down there. So you have to think of practicality. Hari ni saya rasa saya cakap macam politician. Dah duk Melaka ni. Tapi pilihan raya dah habis. Okay, any questions for me so far? Okay, so I hope all of you get the basic idea dulu. So today and tomorrow's class, we will go on this line dulu. Okay, we go on this line. All right. So two things: you need to know where is the innovation source, and you need to wear the hat of you are the manager of your your innovation department. Itulah. That is your class ni punya ideas. So you're no more engineers, you're no more insurance agents, you're no more whatever hari ni. But in my class, you are the senior managers of the innovation or transformation office. Yes, Shafiq.
Okay, Doctor. So the subject, the management of innovation and technology, it lies under which domain? Is it management IS or what field it is? Social science or what?
It's a social science management. Memang betul. Management falls under social science. Because why is it social science? Because we are dealing with humans. When we talk about management, social science, we talk about social science, we are dealing with humans. Sama juga macam computer science, IT, MIS. Computer science will deal with machines. Kalau you talk about IT, MIS, management, information systems, we are all talking about humans. So it falls under social science lah. So when we talk about humans, you know lah. Bukan senang nak talk to humans. Right? It's not easy to talk to humans lah. So there are so many aspects you need to consider. There are so many areas you need to look at.
Okay.
Alright. Cik Arif, Puan Izzati, Puan Izani. Okay. Kenapa awak semua ni macam mandam je? Awak tak ceria pun? Awak kena ceria. Nantilah, I don't know, saya pun tak sure bila kita akan masuk kelas lah. I hope by next semester kita boleh masuk kelas lah. You know? Tapi I think for all of you, bagus juga kelas online kan? I mean, you don't have to travel ke mana-mana semua kan? So, it's easy lah. Alright. Macam saya ni, saya dah duduk rumah berapa lama ni. I think the last I went into office was January or maybe February 2021. Letak buat gegat dalam bilik je. After that, I've never gone back to my room. I've never seen my office mate ada 2-3 orang yang dah tiba-tiba mengandung, dah bersalin, anak pun dah besar-besar dah. Saya tengok, bila masa dia ni dapat anak? Dia tak nak update dalam Facebook. Oh, you already got a baby. Oh, baby girl dah. Ada yang macam tu dah. Macam, dah baby girl sebenarnya dah. Macam, you don't know. Okay. Are we all okay for today?
Okay.
Alright. So tomorrow, insyaAllah, we will start our class by 9 o'clock kan? Can you give me 9:30 boleh tak? Just for tomorrow. Bukan apa. I need to get a proper line lah esok dalam kereta kan. Kan saya tengah angkat barang nanti bercakap-cakap kan. Bukan nak tolong kan. Kalau boleh kat sini sama-sama angkat barang. Saya tak pernah tahu barang bawa college tu berlambak macam ni. Astaghfirullahalazim. The best part is hari ni esok dia akan masuk. In 2 weeks time dia akan balik. 3 minggu. Raya Cina dia akan balik. Astaghfirullahalazim. Okay. So thank you so much. So tomorrow I will see all of you the same link. Saya akan email all of you. I think Cik Syafiq dah email, Izani dah email, Arif Cik Syafiq dah WhatsApp, Izani dah WhatsApp, Arif dah, Amin dah, Izzati dah, and Ashikin dah. Okay, so I will email you the invitation and we will keep the same link for tomorrow until the end of classes. Alright, so thank you so much. You have a good evening and pergilah pasar malam ke kalau ada kat situ. Gila enjoy. Saya akan pergi Umbai saat lagi just to tell you lah. Bukan nak ajak makan pun, saya tahu lah.
Untunglah.
Ikan bakar.
Ada doktor hari ni cerita bawa makan je ni. Dah terliur dah ni asam pedas dari tadi.
Itulah.
Kita kena pergi makan ni.
Saya pergi Umbai, I don't know. Gerai nombor 1 Kalau you ada kat situ, gerai nombor 1. Saya pun tak tahu gerai nombor 1 kat mana. So jemput-jemput lah. You know? So mostly because I'm a very foodie person. So separuh daripada kelas saya akan cerita pasal makan lah. So you just anggaplah ini you faham-faham je lah. Nak ajak makan tak boleh berjauh. Itulah kita online kalau dekat dah lama je.
Foodpanda
thank
ada
you.
doktor.
Saya?
Foodpanda ada.
Okay, thank you so much. And then insyaAllah tomorrow I will see you 9:30 from my car lah. InsyaAllah.
Okay, insyaAllah.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum
doktor.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Ada
Thank you.
Betul.